Our next speaker is the founder of Museum Playbook and one of the smartest marketers I know. You met her once today already. Welcome back to the stage, Despi Ross.
All right, so I'm here to share 15 ideas to improve audience engagement in 15 minutes. They're all very tactical because we want you to find them as helpful as possible. So I've divided these into 3 categories, and the first one is don't be a broadcaster, all right? So with audience engagement, and certainly Jody talked about the need to define your audiences really specifically, and that's what all of these suggestions are about. So listen more than you speak, and this is a hard one because our marketing departments and our task lists and everything are set up to speak and to get our message out there, and it can be hard to make time for the listening part. So use tools to help you. There's a really low-cost tool called Mention that can help you keep track of what people are talking about on social media, kind of measure sentiment, which is something that Jody told you that you needed for personas. It's really helpful. Definitely borrow street cred from local influencers, and the way you do that is to just reach out to them on social. Sometimes they'll want you to pay them, and I would suggest that you consider that as part of your overall marketing budget. It's more and more common now for people with really large social followings to not be willing to do that stuff for free because they get asked so much. But think of it as a form of advertising, but you can also hold a semi-annual event, so you invite local bloggers and Instagram influencers to watch films, take pictures, post stuff. It's a great benefit for your audience engagement effort. I heart Simon Sinek, and if you haven't seen his TED Talk, Start With Why. I think that it really behooves us as an industry to focus on that approach where we think, why does the visitor, why does the ticket purchaser care? And how do we align them with why we do what we do instead of try to convince them to buy what we do? And so watch that TED Talk. Even if you've seen it again, it's great. Or if you've seen it before, it's great to watch it again. Invite people to write film reviews and share them on your blog or social media channels. There's no risk in doing this. You don't have to publish things that you get that you don't feel are usable. You can do this in lots of ways. You can do it through contests or just asking your members through your email newsletter. But give them a voice and let that voice do the work for you. Because, as we talk about word of mouth and recommendation being a powerful tool for marketing, this is a great way to build that. And don't generalize your content. We've heard from visitors in our study that they want educational content, and that is one of the most compelling things about what you offer to them. And I think sometimes in museums we shy away from educational when we talk about marketing because it feels boring. But I think right now what we're hearing from visitors is that they see our institutions and our theaters as a place to get that content that they can't get anyplace else. So own that differentiator and use it to your advantage. All right, advertising. Yeah, you're welcome for the John Hamm. I heard some of that. I use this photo every chance I get for the obvious reason. So use advertising wisely. We have, as marketers, certainly I've been a part of a lot of marketing projects and teams, and we have this, spray and pray approach with advertising where we just put out everything we can afford to put out and hope that it works. But instead, there are some ways that you could do it differently, maybe to better effect. So think of your ads as content, not promotional material. So when you think about running a print ad, you have a square image or a half page or whatever, and it has the name of the film and the dates and your URL, and that's all it is, right? Because that's the space you have, that's what the expectation is for that format. That does not translate into the social media or digital realm. So think about those spaces being places where you pay to promote content, and those are your ads. Those reviews that your visitors wrote, promote them, pay to promote them, and use them as ads. Creating photo ops, Charity and I have worked in museums a long time. We've been a part of creating many that cut out of whatever. And so that's kind of like an eye roll thing. But it really does work, especially if you pair it with a hashtag for Instagram and Twitter. And then your audience is creating engagement with their followers and their families and friends and extending your message for you. One of the biggest things that I was frustrated by as a museum marketer and technologist is that we always promoted the new thing, only the new thing. When we talk about spending ad dollars, marketing budget, it was always about the new exhibit, the new film, what is new, because that's all people care about, right? And that certainly we have to do that. We have got to tell people what's new and happening because that draws them to us. But also, we have to remember that there are a whole legion of people out there who are not coming all the time, who maybe came once a few years ago, or maybe came once as a kid on a field trip, but they're not regular visitors, and we can't forget that they don't know about the show-stopping experience. So advertise, use your advertising as a way to engage those audiences with what you do and how you do it, not just what's new and awesome, do both. Polls, quizzes, and other interactive content as part of your advertising budget. This again speaks to what Jody was saying with audience personas. When you do contests and quizzes, you can have a dual agenda. That's content that your audiences can enjoy and use to engage with you, but it's also something you can use to get data about what they care about. And that allows you to better understand them. And if you use your paid advertising budget to promote those things, then the reach is going to be so much greater than if you sent a simple email to your member list or something like that. So consider that. And then you dive into social media audience targeting tools and figure out where you're underserving your audiences. Facebook Insights is a wonderful place to start if you haven't dug into it. If you're not in a marketing department where you have access to that stuff, ask your marketers to help you. And I know a topic that we didn't get to cover as much as we want to, and we've already gotten a question about it, is how do you make that collaboration with marketing more effective? And I think that understanding that these tools exist and they impact your business, and when you go to your marketer and say, hey, I understand how this impacts my business, can you help me understand what's happening? I think that's a way to open that conversation and make sure everybody's better informed. Okay. Last category. We have a lot of names for our customers. I don't know why you're laughing. I meant visitors, members, guests, maybe some other names. But they're still customers. So they are consumers, and they're driven by the stuff that drives us all as consumers. So how can we make that customer experience better for audience engagement? So make sure that every single staff member can answer the most basic questions. Where's the bathroom? Where's the box office? What time's the next show start? And randomly award small prizes when you see staff doing it. There's no better way. If you're training anybody, positive reinforcement's the way. So think about how you can motivate without busting your budget by offering a free coffee, a free ticket to a show. What can you do to incentivize them to be really good at this? Because cumulatively, it makes a big impact. So once you've created your awesome audience personas, turn them into flashcards and use that as a training tool for your frontline staff, right? You can ask quiz questions on the back. You can put fun facts and have a matching game. You could be really creative with how you make them, but the whole point is, how do you get those personas in front of people so that they become everyday tools instead of just something we circulate around the marketing department, and it'll just make them owned by the entire institution. Make it a point yourself to regularly ask a theater attendee about their experience and require your team to do it too. Ask somebody, how was the film today? How was the theater experience? And share what you've heard in your department meetings, in your regularly scheduled meetings. Don't make it something that is a big deal. It's like a whole committee. No more committees. Just do it in your regularly scheduled stuff so that everybody feels ownership over that experience, because everybody contributes to it. Add age recommendations to your rack cards, theater signage, and website, and make sure that staff can speak to this at the box office. It's a question that your frontline staff are often getting, and if it's not been provided in lots of different ways, it might not be something that they can answer off the top of their head, and it's a really important decision-making factor, like in the moment if you're a parent with kids. And then finally, the most controversial recommendation I'll make today is create a hashtag for feedback and respond to it in real time. So people can hashtag you on Twitter, or because the thing is, your marketing department is not going to want to create a Twitter handle for your theater that's separate from their museum handle. Am I right? Anybody experience that? So create a hashtag. It's a compromise, but it gives you direct opportunity to respond to your visitors and your customers and really hear what they have to say. And the thing I hear the most in response to this is, I don't have time. I don't have staff. But the thing is, when the phone rings, we answer it. And this is the new phone. Okay? So there's no, like, we have to answer the Twitter when it rings. All right? Thanks, everybody.